Chapter 5. Name Hugh Winkleman. Adults are always trying to figure out what makes kids tick. They send professors into middle schools to do research and run tests. They publish 1,000-page studies. Know what? They don't have a clue. If you want to understand middle school students, there's only one way to do it: follow the wedgies. Wedgie givers and wedgie receivers. Take it from someone who's been down that road before. Sad to say, I am one of those receivers. Zach Powers, Lena Young, and their crowd ride roughshod over a lot of people. But if statistics were taken, I'd be victim number one. Until Capricorn Anderson showed up. Even I could pick on a guy like that. Not that I would ever do such a thing. I'd never lower myself to the level of those nitwits. But what a kid. He wasn't nerdy in a typical way. He wasn't a computer geek or captain of the chess club. That was me. He couldn't speak Klingon. In fact, he never even heard of Star Trek. But just one peek at the guy and you knew that, dweeb-wise, there was a new sheriff in town. A lot of eyes were on him as he sat down in the cafeteria. God, it felt good to have them staring at someone else for a change. I walked over to him. A guy like this was going to need all the friends he could get. One. Capricorn, right? I set my tray down across from him. I'm Hugh, from social study class. I stuck my hand out, but he just stared at it. It wasn't a snub. Believe me, I could teach a college course on snubs. This was cluelessness. He honestly didn't know what to do. I remember you, he said finally. There are so many people here, it's hard to keep track. I can help you with that. I pointed to the table where Zach and Lena were holding court. That crowd thinks they own the place. They think that because they do. Stay away from them. They'll chop you up and press you into salami. Now, anyone you see hanging around their crew falls into one of two subgroups: the jocks and the wannabes. Stay away from both. And you definitely don't want anything to do with goths, burnouts, skateboarders, hip hop kids, environmentalists, or anybody who has a baseball cap on backward. I took note of the blank expression on his face. You know, standard survival skills. I'm sure it was similar at your old school. I was homeschooled before this. No kidding. I'd heard of that, but I'd never met anyone who did it. What's it like? Wonderful, he said wanly. I'll bet. My enthusiasm was genuine. It must be nice to wake up in the morning and not have to worry about walking into a hostile environment with your next wedgie of a matter of not if, but when. What's a wedgie? Wow. Homeschooling must have been heaven. I didn't answer the question. He'd find out soon enough. My eyes fell on Cap's lunch, which consisted of salad, carrot sticks, and 2 slices of whole wheat bread. He must have noticed because he was looking just as curiously at my hamburger. What part of the animal does that meat come from? I don't know, I chewed thoughtfully. The lips, probably. Want a bite? I'm a vegetarian. At that moment, I heard an all too familiar thoof coming from behind us. Maybe one kid in 1,000 would have recognized that sound, but I'm that kid. It was an incoming spitball. I tensed, waiting for impact, but it wasn't aimed at me. Instead, I watched the tiny projectile land and lodge itself amid Cap's cascading piles of lawn hair. He didn't even feel it. Hermits could hole up in that hair, and no two would ever meet. At Zach's table, a celebration was going on, with lots of backslapping and high fives. Daryl Pennyfield, Zach's football buddy and co-Neanderthal, was horsing around. Deadeye, I called him, but never to his face. When his face was too close, mine was usually being stuffed into a locker. Then I caught sight of the straw in Naomi Erlinger's hair. I guess Cap's mop was an irresistible target for amateur spitballers, not just the professionals. The PA system came to life with the voice of Mr. Kazigi. Just a reminder, the election for 8th grade president will be held on Tuesday, September 26th. The position is open to all 8th graders. So far, only one name has been placed in nomination: Capricorn Anderson. Thank you. I was blown away. You're running for president? In your first week here? Cap scanned the ceiling. Who is that? If he wants to talk to us, why doesn't he just come into the room? But why is he talking about you? I persisted. Are you running for president? Of course not. I don't believe in government. I come from an autonomous collective. But Mr. Kazigi said, and suddenly I just knew. The triumphant grins on the smug faces of Zach and company told the whole story. Cap hadn't placed his name in nomination. Zach had done it for him. I heard something about this last year. The 8th graders had picked this computer genius, Luke Samard, and got him elected president just so they can make fun of him. By the end of the year, the poor kid was so crazy that he skipped graduation and applied to an alternative high school so he wouldn't have to face 4 more years with the people who made his life so miserable. Now we were the 8th graders, and it was our turn to do the same thing. Only instead of picking the smartest guy in school, Zach had zeroed in on somebody who didn't even know what a PA system was. I opened my mouth to issue the warning. The words were forming on my tongue. Cap, get over to the office this minute and take yourself out of nomination. Do it now before it's too late. Then it hit me. If Cap Anderson had never been born, the name announced to the whole school would have been mine. The strange and hairy new friend was the only thing preventing me from being the next Luke Samard. I shut my mouth and kept it shut, trying to keep my eyes off the spitball still lodged just above Cap's left ear. I felt bad about it, but I felt something else too. Better him than me.